Okay, welcome back to the greenthought podcast. How's everybody doing? Welcome. This is Shawn Reinhardt, still here. This is episode 4. It's been a whole week since the last time I seen you. Um, you know what it is. While we here at the greenthought podcast, we're gonna catch up. Get back in touch. Make sure everybody's doing good. First and foremost, we're gonna smoke. Like and subscribe and comment. Let me know what you're thinking, man. We're gonna talk about some sports. We got a little crazy story for you. Then we're gonna get into the movie review. This week we reviewing The Way of the Dragon, Kung Fu classic with Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris. They said that it took place in Rome, but I'll let you judge it when you watch it. You tell me if they was in Rome. I don't know. This week that I got today is, what is this? This is Blue Dream. Pretty popular strain. I don't know if it's my favorite though. My favorite is probably Blueberry. But all right, bet. Let's stop the talking. Let's stop the bullshit, and let's go ahead and get the smoking. You know what I mean? Welcome to the Green Thrower Podcast. This week in the service industry, for me, it wasn't, it was a regular week this week. We didn't really have too much craziness going on in my restaurant. So the story comes from a restaurant in the area. It's a taco spot. I don't know, should I say the name? It's Puesto. Puesto is this taco spot out here in San Diego. Good tacos, like, you know what I mean? Real good. They kind of pricey. So, usually when you feeling tacos, you're not really feeling like spending, $35, $40 on some tacos. So a lot of people don't really go, but it's a nice spot. So one of my homeboys work at Puesto. I see him after work. I'm on the bus stop hanging out. He looking all antsy. I'm like, yo, what's good with you? What's going on? He like, man, you will not believe this. And I'm like, what happened? He's like, at my restaurant tonight, we had Barack Obama. Barack Obama, you heard me. The former president. Barack Obama. I'm like freaking out. Like, get the fuck out of here. At first, I'm not believing him, right? He telling me his boss is like, he's like, yeah, I need you to go upstairs to the VIP area. I need you to bust Barack's table. And he like, thinking to himself that his boss is being kind of cute. Like, maybe there's a dude up there who looked like Barack Obama, some black guy or whatever. You know what I mean? So he pays it no mind. He goes up there, and this motherfucking former president Barack Obama and like some Secret Service guys and like some aides or whatever having tacos. Needless to say, he almost passed out. He's like totally, what the fuck? Can't believe it's Joe. You know what I mean? Totally forgetting that he's up there to bust the table. You know what I mean? He said he was cool. Said Barack was a cool guy. Said, he was tall. He's kind of lanky, kind of skinny. You know what I mean? Spoke the same way you see him on TV. Apparently he had the hero taco. They was eating hero tacos, which is on the secret list over at Puesto. Barack Obama. He's got to be, like, easily the most famous person you could meet. Right? To be honest with you, I actually got another homeboy who got to meet the president too. So it put me in a weird position that I know 2 motherfuckers who got to meet the president and I ain't get a chance yet. I met a few famous people, I rub shoulders with a lot of people out here on both coasts. I got to meet m.i.a once at this party, at this loft party. It was a dingy warehouse. I don't know why she was there. She had no business being there. But my homeboy VJ, he used to he lived in this building, this warehouse. It was called the Copycat Building. And him and his roommates had the whole top floor. They had like crazy shit in there. They had like tire swings. They had like a whole band set up, whole rock band set up, like actual instruments and stuff. One night I even seen there was this dude in there playing the piano. It was definitely sketchy as fuck. Like, it was super sketchy. It was like a lot of art students and shit lived there. Drug dealers lived there. Graffiti people who did graffiti on shit lived there. Musicians. And my man VJ lived there. And after work, we would go to his apartment, and it was always people in there. It was on the top floor, whatever the top floor was. And so you take this elevator, and the elevator was the worst. Like easily top three worst elevators I ever been in of all times. Like, I don't know if you know this about me, but I have a fear of elevators, or like not a fear of elevators. I have a fear of dying in elevators. That shit. Some people say it's irrational. I think it's a real thing. Scares the fuck out of me. So yeah, it's not like I don't have a fear of elevators. I have a fear of dying in a horrible elevator malfunction. That's what I have a fear of. I mean, I'm not scared of the idea of getting into a thing and it elevating you up levels. I get that. It's like you in the corner of this huge warehouse, the floor of this warehouse, and yeah, it'd be all kinds of people in there. They had dudes in there skateboarding. They had, you could play wall ball with like tennis rackets. It was a huge space. You know what I mean? Who knows who was in there? Let's put it like that. But I was in there, and I was sitting next to this dude, and he was like, "Oh my God, I can't believe she's here. Like, what is she doing here?" And I'm like, who's here? Like, I'm looking around and shit, and he's like, M.I.A. M.I.A. is sitting at the bar, tiki bar, this little shitty tiki bar. She was like sitting at the bar with some big bouncer type guy, and I didn't know who she was. This is literally like Paper Planes probably came out like that week. She was probably in Baltimore performing Paper Planes like off the CD. Like, I didn't know who the fuck M.I.A. was. So I walk up to her like, "Hey, how you doing?" She said, "Hey, I'm fine." It was definitely like a feeling of, okay, I don't know you. This is weird. Like, you know what I mean? So I walked away. But that was me. That was when I met M.I.A. M.I.A. probably met Barack Obama, if we was actually being honest. I also got to meet Ray Rice. I actually got to meet Ray Rice twice, right? Y'all know Ray Rice famously from having the second worst elevator ride for a black guy that year. I think Jay-Z and Solange they won the award for worst elevator rides. That's a tie-in. How about that for a callback? Like, yo, irrational fears of elevators. You get in the elevator and some bad shit happen to you. But anyway, I met Ray Rice at Red Maple, and it was cool. He was cool as shit. Like, the first time I met him, I was working there. He came in with some people. He didn't drink. He didn't drink nothing. His table had a bunch of waters, which essentially mean I didn't make no money. But it was cool to meet Ray Rice. He was like, I felt like he was shorter than me. I felt like we was like the same height, but he was like, you know what I mean? So he was a cool guy. He was standing on the table. I actually went over to him and I was like, I was like, "Excuse me, Mr. Rice. I think you're a good running back and everything, but you can't stand on my table." And he was like, "What?" I was like, "You can't stand on the table." He was like, "Oh, my fault," and he got down. But the second time I met Joe, Ray Rice wants to come into the club. So it's like, cool. The only thing is he's got his bodyguard with him and he's got the gun. Is that okay? And I'm like, let me ask security. And I ask security and they say, go ask the promoter. So I go ask the promoter and he's like, yeah, bring him in. And I'm like, oh, it's one thing. His friend his bodyguard got a gun. Can he bring his gun in? And he like, no. Nobody can bring a gun in. I don't care who it is. So I went back out and I was like, nah, your man can't come in with the gun. Like, nah. Is there any ties between Ray Rice and M.I.A.? I don't think so. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back, baby back. I want my baby back, baby back. Right? Chili's. Nah, that's stupid. So in Baltimore sports, the Ravens is probably getting ready to sign up these free agents. These draft picks. As far as Baltimore sports goes in baseball, the Baltimore Orioles won today. So let's hit something for the O's winning. Let's go O's, obviously. They beat the bullshit ass Kansas City Royals. Fuck them. So yeah, we beat them today. And that's all I'm gonna talk about in sports. I'm not gonna talk about what happened yesterday or the game before, the game after. Y'all the people who live in Baltimore and follow baseball, y'all know what's going on. I'm not gonna be. I don't know why anybody would disrespect the O's by talking about what's going on. So, but we won today. So, hell yeah. And that's sports. Yeah, with the news. So, boom, with Donald Trump in office, everybody got to remember that you got to be eyes and ears about politics. You know what I mean? Motherfuckers will definitely try to put something in over your head or whatever. Pull a wool over your eyes, bamboozle you. Tuesday, June 5th, is going to be the Californian gubernatorial primary election. Shout out to Blue Dream. For those out there, maybe y'all don't check your mailbox, but if you did, you would have got your sample ballot in your mail. And, you know, for those who didn't look at it, I got you. Don't worry about it. Green Thought Podcast, man. You got to keep your head, your third eye open, you know. Welcome to Shawn Reinhardt's Political Corner. And now I'm going to give you some of the people running for to be your governor of California, okay? This can't be the real list of people. Hold on. The first dude is Hawk Mikado. He's got no party preference. So why don't they call him the Eagle? We also got Peter Liu, who party preference is Republican. Peter Liu doesn't have no job listed. He literally got nothing, is blank right here. Nicholas Wildstar, true name, real name he got on here in bold letters. Nicholas Wildstar. Party preference is Libertarian. And your boy is a recording artist. Anybody can run. He's a recording artist. He's running for governor of California. You got a dude on here named Zoltan, who is also a libertarian. And it says on here that my man is an entrepreneur / transhumanist. Transhumanist lecturer. Transhumanist lecturer. So basically transhumanist. That means, what does that mean? Does that mean he's a lizard person? You got Shubham Goel, who has no party preference and is a virtual reality manager. Christopher N. Carlson is a puppeteer and a musician. Like, it's all kinds of people running for governor, y'all. And you wouldn't know this unless you looked at your thing or checked it out on the Green Thought Podcast. You got to get your third eye whoop, you know what I mean, hitting bowls out here and keeping you ready for the next governor. Who would I vote for on this list? It's like people on the back, too. Jeffrey Edward Taylor. He's a marketplace minister. We're going to pull a movie for next week. That's what we're going to do. Oh, we got something good. We got Fresh. So next week we're going to watch Fresh. We're going to talk about that. This week, though, we watched Way of the Dragon with Bruce Lee. Kung Fu classic. Bruce Lee, Chuck Norris, fighting in Rome, fighting in the Coliseum. It's exactly what happens when you don't try to like fuck up your movie with all kinds of clingy subplots and character development and shit like that. Bruce Lee was like a country guy. Like, he grew up in the country in Japan, Hong Kong. Yeah, Hong Kong. That's in China, right? It's in Japan. Hong Kong it's in Japan, right? Where is it? Okay, yeah, it's in China. Japan is an island, right? Anyway, Bruce Lee grew up in the country in China. Apparently, he knew some guy whose niece had a restaurant in Rome that was they was fucking with him, like some Italian gangsters, which I think only one of the dudes was actually Italian. It was really ethnically spread out. You know, they had some black guys and some white guys, and they had at least one Italian dude who like got hit with a nunchuck and said "Mamma Mia." Like, I'm not Italian, but maybe if I was, I might be offended. What the fuck is that about? You know? So anyway, the movie opens with your boy Bruce Lee in the airport waiting to get picked up, getting racially profiled off the muscle. This is the 70s. This white lady looking at Bruce Lee like she never seen Chinese people before. Maybe she didn't. I don't know. But anyway, he gets picked up by the niece, and she takes him to this apartment where they can stay. Then she takes him to the restaurant that she owns, and you know she like explained it to him. These people want to buy my restaurant. They trying to force me out. I don't want to sell it. I thought my uncle was going to send me a lawyer. They send me some like country dude, some, you know what I mean, bumpkin dude. See, apparently this girl don't know who Bruce Lee is. Like, yo, you know Bruce Lee is like, what? So, you know what I mean? She's like, stop kicking for you knock a vase over or something. Takes him to the restaurant. And at the restaurant, all the buses, everything's about the service industry. I'm telling you, it's like it always come around. Since the mob is like running all these guests away, all their patrons, the buses and stuff is trying to learn karate so they can like hand to hand fight these dudes. You know what I mean? And Bruce Lee come in, and apparently he doing kung fu, Chinese boxing, like, you know, and they acting like they don't know what it is. But what happens is before he can like give them an official demonstration, the little mob dudes show up, and then he beat them dudes up, take them out back, and that's when your man say "Mamma Mia." That's when he like whip out the nunchucks, right? So the mob dudes come in, they start like trashing the place. Bruce Lee handles them. There was no sound effects in this movie. Like, I mean, obviously some people seen Bruce Lee movies. Y'all know that, like, that's just the sound it make when he punch. Like, it's like, whoo, whoo. Like, that's a real thing. They actually got to put the sound effects in for everybody else's punches, or it would sound weird. But anyway, so after he beat the first mob dudes up, they got to get somebody to beat Bruce Lee ass. So they call Chuck Norris, right? Like, he's like the best fighter in America. So it's kind of dope. They set it up for it to be in the Coliseum, obviously, where all, like, during, you know, the Roman times, they held all the biggest, you know, fighting events, people fighting, animals fighting, all kinds of craziness. So for a location, that was a good idea. It's probably one of the best fight scenes you'll ever see. And you got to keep in mind that they shot this in the 70s. It starts out with, you know, Chuck Norris is like, you know, Bruce Lee never fought Chuck Norris before. Chuck Norris is doing like karate and shit. You know what I mean? Before they get popping, they each do like stretches. Like they you know, warming up or whatever. And Chuck Norris come out. So he comes out the gi with the aggressive chest hair. Like the whole, it's like torso hair. He had like the lead vest of motherfucking body hair. It was super aggressive. All leg kicks, right? Ends up catching your man Bruce Lee. You knew when he got up it was popping because they started playing the music and he started making the sounds. Then yeah, my man Bruce Lee systematically broke your man Chuck Norris down, broke his leg, broke his arm, got him in like the little chokehold, gave him like a UFC move, triangle or whatever, and yeah, killed Chuck Norris. Then you find out that the uncle is in league with the mob. You ain't know this. Like the whole time, he want to go back to Hong Kong. He living in Rome, you know, mobsters all in his restaurant knocking shit over, and he trying to go back to Hong Kong. So he actually playing against the niece and Bruce Lee. He tells him, he set him up. So while Bruce Lee was fighting in the Coliseum, you know, Jimmy and Tony. You know what I mean? Shout out to Jimmy and Tony. The uncle come in with the blade, shank both of them. Jimmy and Tony, man, they ended up getting it. So the movie ends with Bruce Lee and the niece at the cemetery, like just buried everybody. Everybody said, and yeah, man, in the end, like, yo, he ended up going back home. You think they gonna end up together? And Bruce Lee like, nah, I'm going back home. Like, nah, man. Bruce Lee had that, put it in like the friend zone territory. Like, nice to meet you, and got out of there. I thought it was I don't know. I thought it was cold blooded. You know what I mean? Shout out to Bruce Lee. It's a classic. It's a motherfucking classic. Bruce Lee beat Chuck Norris ass and cemented himself as the greatest kung fu movie star of all time. I'm pretty sure. If you disagree, write it in the comments. Let me know what you think. I'm high. I'm sorry. One of the most interesting things about the movie is that in the credits, they let you know that not only did Bruce Lee direct this movie, but he also scripted it. So yeah, this is Shawn Reinhardt. This has been the Green Thought Podcast. Thank you for watching, y'all. I really appreciate everybody. Make sure that you like, comment, and subscribe to the channel. We're gonna have more videos coming. Oh yeah, make sure you come back next week, and we're gonna watch Fresh. That's gonna be the movie for next week. So there was definitely cats in this movie. You would have been good in the movie. The movie had cats in it. Two or three cute cats. Apparently the Coliseum is overrun with cats in the 70s. You'd have been in the Coliseum. You'd been like a tiger. I know you like the light.